queens manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and booty walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog. When God made you, boo, you know he showed out. Mahogany enchantress, blessings overflow now. Picture of success, seductive silhouettes on a spiritual quest. Manifest and be blessed. Mother, sister, auntie, tribe of Ashanti. Rocking your locks, I got a close crop blondie. The curse and the gift, uplift, apply pressure. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. I'm your host, Ursula, and this is all a podcast about mental health and wellness that's specific to us because we can relate to each other, but of course, it's open for everyone. But each week, I promise to deliver you relevant topics and guests that can lead us to a better mental health. Tonight, we have a special guest, but before I get into it, let me just go over some housekeeping. Make sure and visit blackgirlsgettingtheirshifttogether.com. Make sure and listen on the audio podcast. It's on all streaming podcasts. And make sure and give your girl a 5-star review. It's okay. Subscribing and liking, it's free. Make sure you share this video on YouTube with at least 2 of your best friends. Okay. We're going to get right into it tonight. I'm going to bring my lovely guest on. And once I get her on, I'll let you all know my motivation for tonight's guest. All right. Are we ready, special guest? Look at her.
Hey there.
Hey, Symone. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. I was so excited when you replied. And I was like, you know what? I want this sister on, and bam, it happened.
Yes, girl, of course.
How was your day today?
Busy, exhausting, blah, blah, blah. But I'm here now. I was making sure this was a priority. So, yes, I have to do some me time.
Exactly, right? So, I just want to get into it and just let everyone know my motivation for having you on. So, if some of you do or do not know, Symone was a cast member on readytolove. And what drew me to Symone, it wasn't any of the chit-chatting, none of that. It was when she mentioned that she went to therapy. I literally levitated off of my chair. I was like, a sister's talking about mental health on a national platform. And that was a couple years ago you were on, right?
Right. It was in 2020.
2020.
From 2020 to 2021, that season. Yes, ma'am.
And it's literally been ingrained in my head since then.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I got out of anything. That was one of the paramount topics that I got from the show, and I thought it was amazing. So then when I saw that you had your own podcast, I said, I definitely want to always align myself with people who freely and openly talk about mental health because there's such a stigma in our community. I'm sure you know that, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It's getting better though. It is getting better.
You know what? I do agree with you on that, especially with social media and
Hmm.
more people talking about it. But what I love is more people are talking about it as opposed to mega superstars, which is amazing. But
Right.
everyday people, people who do have a platform. So I do agree it is getting better. It is. So yeah, what are some taboo things you've heard about mental health?
Um, well, first of all, I hate the name. I'm gonna just say that I hate the name mental health. It makes you sound crazy. I feel like they should call it adulting. Like, oh, I'm having issues with adulting, not like I'm having issues with my mental health, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're having issues with your mental health, what you're really having issues with are some of the day-to-day challenges of being an adult, of being a person with responsibilities. So if someone was like, "Oh, girl, I'm having trouble with adulting," you'll be like, "Girl, me too. Let me tell you about my boss, or let me tell you about my job, or let me tell you about my children or my ex-husband." So I always
Yeah.
felt like they could really work on some remarketing, rebranding, I would say, of the
You know
term.
what? I like that, the rebranding part, because you're right. If you mention mental health in our community, that is literally like acid to some people's ears.
Yeah, because it sounds like mentally ill and it sounds like crazy. And we know truly nutty people, truly crazy people. And I think that that is solely distinct. Like, because what we think of, I feel like, is the total extreme, right? The schizophrenic extreme.
Right.
We're not taught, or don't have an idea of all the in betweens, of the, having difficulty getting out of bed multiple days in a row, but yet
Mhm.
doing it because you have to, because you got to pay your bills, you got to keep them lights on. That too is an example of a mental health challenge and can
Exactly.
be an indication of depression.
Right. And depression isn't the end of the world. I
No,
mean,
it's not.
I've had depression before and nobody knew because I was functioning. So, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have a face.
I always say, if you're an adult and you haven't had depression, then you haven't been passionate enough about something.
Okay, so we just dropping gems early on in this. I see. That what we doing? I love it.
Whether it's work or a relationship, you just haven't been passionate about. If you were not depressed when something didn't go through, when you felt like it failed, then you haven't loved anything enough. I don't want to even be you. Because it's something about having a passion, even if it doesn't quite work out, that at the time when it's at its height, it's an amazing, exhilarating high.
These are facts. I always would say that uh going to a therapist, something doesn't always have to be wrong. Sometimes you just want to work on communication skills or your next path in life. And sometimes you just need a little guidance. That's okay too.
Right. Yeah, with my boyfriend, I had told him that. I'm like, "Hey, do you think we should go to a couples therapist?" He was like, "But nothing's wrong." And I was like, "I know that, but if we're marriage minded, they can always give us tips or tricks." I feel like it's like going to tutoring, right? There are a lot of parents out there. You send your kids to Kumon, you send your kids to Sylvan Learning Center. Do you wait until they've gotten an F, till they're failed, till they're trying to
Right.
repeat the grade? No. You wait until you see, okay, wait a minute, we've got some areas of improvement. And when you realize, with those areas of improvement, the tools that I have access to alone
Mhm.
aren't enough to get me where I'd like to be.
Right. One of my therapist friends, she had mentioned that she tells her clients that who are apprehensive about going to therapy and have that stigma attached. And she's like, well, say you are going to go on a scuba diving trip. You want to learn how to swim before you jump in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
And then they say, well, yeah. She's like, okay, so this is just, you just getting ahead of the game. So, speaking of your relationship, I wish I would have known what I know now back then when I was in relationships before. If I would have gone to therapy, at least to know my own communication skills and where some of my little hiccups and glitches are. Do you feel like that's helped you
Oh,
or
for
been
sure.
different?
Actually, I had a boyfriend. I had a boyfriend that I just knew I was dumping. He got on my last nerves, and he knew. He knew he was out of there. He was gone because he just did something that was horrible, and he just begged me, please, please, will you go to therapy with me, please, please. Mind you, at this point, we had only been together maybe 4 months, 6 months, whatever it was.
Right.
I was like, no, I just want to dump you. But I was of the age where I was like, you know what? I don't want to be one of those people who has second thoughts or second guesses about any past relationships. When I end this relationship, I don't want to look back because that's not fair to anyone in my future, right? If I can't close that door. So I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this therapy. Because when it don't work, then I'll be able to feel confident that it wasn't me, that I gave it my all, it was us. And so sure enough, we did. And the best part, on our first session, the therapist told us, oh, and I let him, he'd never been to therapy before, ever,
Oh, really?
ever. And so, and he didn't really believe in it. He just was trying to save the relationship. And I let him pick the therapist. He chose to do, he wanted to do faith-based because, you know, he believed in pastors more than therapists. I said, whatever you want. He picked, I said, you can pick because I'm Catholic. So he don't trust nothing with the Catholic Church. So I said, okay, that's your business. He
Right.
picked a pastor and pastor's wife couple. And in our first session, which was in their home, they basically asked him like, what was the issue? And they were like, that's it. They were like, oh, y'all ain't got no real problems. Now, y'all don't have infidelity. Y'all don't have this, I don't that. Basically, he was complaining that I wasn't doing what he wanted when he wanted it done.
What?
And I was like, and I'm still not going to do what you want when it's done. I just need somebody else to tell you that your requests are literally, one of his complaints was that I wouldn't clean up behind myself. He would, like, if I was not at his house more than like 2 days in a row and I went back to my own, he'd be like, where are you? I miss you. Like, he would always want me over. Well,
Right.
I told him from the beginning, you know, when people tell you like, oh, you're such a great catch, why are you single? And I was like, well, I don't know, but I know that I'm messy and I'm disorganized and I'm a borderline hoarder. I get it from my granny, bless her heart. And so I would be messy. Well, I bought a house. I have a housekeeper that would go to my house. I would have her come to his house. He complained to the pastor. He said, she's really messy and she has this housekeeper come clean my house. He goes, oh my God, that's such a blessing.
I know.
He said, actually, my wife is the same way, who was sitting right there. He said, I had asked her, I told her at the beginning of our marriage, I was going to hire someone to come clean the house like every other week. And she said, heck no, you better not have no woman up in my house, and refused it. And so he said, as a result, throughout their marriage, just had to clean the house. He pastored the church and had to come home and clean the house. And that's just what it was.
Right.
And so he was saying the fact that Symone has acknowledged this is a weakness and has said, but this is a solution that I'm presenting. And you're saying, no, I don't want your solution. I want you to do it. Says, this isn't about finding a solution. This is about your control.
Control. That was ringing in my head. The control part. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Look,
but I knew he needed a third party. And so that's what I loved about relationship therapy. And for anybody who's watching, who's in a relationship, or maybe has one of those relationships where y'all do the yo-yo game, you break up, you get back together, and you look up 5 years later, y'all still are not engaged or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy could be good because y'all need to get that closure. You need to poop or get off the pot, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And what I loved about the therapist is he would get on my nerves. He would be doing stuff all week. And whereas I used to pick, I would immediately be like, why did you say? I would save it. And I would think to myself, I can't wait till Tuesday. I can't wait to tell on you on Tuesday, right? Just like when you're a kid, you'd be like, I can't wait to tell mama on you when she get home from work. So I would save everything to Tuesday. And on Tuesday, I'd present. And it would be, but during the week, it was so much more peaceful. He got to the point where he was like, why didn't you tell me when it first happened? I said, because you don't listen to me. If I would have said this at home, you would have went on and on about how my issue or my concern was invalid. But now that you're doing this in front of your pastor, you have to listen. And he did.
Wow.
So it can be a tool to get third party buy-in,
Unbiased.
unbiased buy-in, particularly where the party who is hesitant to go, you have that person pick the therapist. Because then they can't claim bias. You pick them.
That's
And for
right.
that machismo guy, right, who has to be right all the time, they're not gonna come back and be like, oh, well, I was wrong. No. They're gonna step back, they're gonna listen, they're either gonna fix it or you know what you're getting. And then that's your decision whether that's something you're gonna stick with, because he ain't changing. Once you get married, it's gonna get worse, or he's gonna stay the same. Because now he got you. You ain't going, he knows you can't go nowhere real easily. Not
That's
without
the
a court
part.
order.
And for those who do not know, Symone is an attorney, so she does know this,
Yeah,
which we definitely want to talk about at the end when we finish up
sure.
with your new podcast. I love it, love it,
Thank
love
you.
it. So what are some stigmas that you've heard in addition to what we just talked about adulting?
Oh yeah, I mean that people are crazy, or um, you don't want to deal with the crazy. Like there's a lot of people getting diagnosed bipolar, a lot. So a lot of guys are like, "Ooh, I don't want to deal with the bipolar girl or guy, or vice versa." I know I don't want to deal with, but I'll tell you, I don't want to deal with anybody who does not take their medication. I have a friend who used to say, "Well, I don't like taking my medicine. I don't like the way it makes me feel." And I said, "Well, I like the way it makes me feel when I'm around you. So if we're gonna go on this girls' trip for 4 days, I need you to agree to take your medicine."
It's so funny you said that because okay, I'll say it. I
Go
worked
for it.
I worked with someone and they had a diagnosis and they said the same thing. They didn't like taking it, and I get it. If you don't like how it feels, but that's why you go back to get it tweaked.
You do. You
And
can't give
yeah,
up.
exactly.
You can't give up.
And it was an instant
And
give up.
as you're changing your medicines, if you're dating someone, you have an obligation to inform the person that you're dating. So I have challenges with ADD medications. I don't like them because I got very addicted and I had to go to rehab to even realize I was addicted and then get off of it.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah, that's
man.
actually how I ended up going to therapy with my dad and working on our relationship. Because I was so successful, he refused to acknowledge that there were any flaws in his parenting style. Understandably.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, this sounds so familiar.
Yeah. And it's understandable. I get it. I totally get it. You got this pretty little girl and you're a guy who's an old school player. My daddy used to be a hoe. And a lot of girls wanted him to be their pimp. I mean, he's good looking, fly. His little nickname in the hood was in the projects was Rocky, because he was who you called to be somebody's behind.
Are
Okay.
you
He
serious?
was strong. So
Really?
of course, what's an old school hoe, an old school player's fear? That their gorgeous, beautiful daughter will become a loosey goosey, right? That she will be beholden to a man and only rely on her looks and her beauty. So he was pretty hard on me.
Mm.
He was real hard on me. And, not nurturing and loving, but he was critical. That was his style. He did the best with what he knew. But as a result, there are two ways that you can approach your daddy issues. You can be a whore, you can be a super success and say, I'm gonna be so successful, I'm gonna get the hell out of this house and never have to deal with anybody like this. So that
Yes.
was my approach.
Right.
And in doing so, I put an unreasonable amount of pressure on myself,
The
but an
anxiety.
unhealthy amount, similar to Chesley Chris. No matter what I did, I felt like I'd never accomplished enough. But
Mm.
also, when I would ever discuss things that my dad was doing as far as the way he was critical, and I would ask for him to stop, he wasn't understanding because he thought that my success was because of his criticism, not in spite of.
Oh, wow. No, wait. Now, did you have that self-awareness of that before your therapy, or was that
Um,
during? Because when you
well,
go to therapy, you can start seeing a lot of
I
things.
knew that I knew that he thought my success was because he was super hypercritical. I did know that. And there was nothing I could do to get him, to shake him from that. There was nothing. My parents are still married. They're together today. So it wasn't even
Right.
like I didn't have like a wayward father I never knew. He was in my house every day to
Mm.
this day. He will drive from Dallas here to change my light bulb. If I say, oh, Daddy, I'm tired and I need you. You know, we have that now. We didn't used to, but we have it now. But
Really?
it took me going to rehab for him to realize, this didn't work. I did something wrong. And I'm so glad that it happened, because but for that, he would have continued that approach.
Was he in
Because
denial at first?
for sure. Well, if you think about it, okay, I was cute. I grew up modeling TV, acting, film, like as a little girl. Was always on TV, always on little commercials and stuff. And then when I was 16, I got a full ride to study finance at one of the top universities in America. Then when I was 19, I got an internship to study abroad in London to study finance. Every summer in college, I had a paid Fortune 500 internship.
Wow.
And then when I was like 21, I got almost a full ride to an Ivy League law school, which is where I attended.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated at 25 during the recession, making more than both of my parents' salaries combined. So, pow, pow,
Really?
pow, pow. And then you got my brother. He's in the middle. He is, he's a music producer who has songs that were, up for Grammys. Then I got my baby sister who, before she was 30, was approved to own her first Chick-fil-A, major
Oh,
franchise.
wow.
So
Okay.
you got these three high achieving kids, and we love Daddy. And, our parents were together and stuff, but he wasn't realizing it was in spite of. So now the other thing I had to work on was learning how to talk to men, because I would talk to him really ugly and he would talk to me back really ugly. So I had to change the discourse, because I had to own my responsibility. I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm in my 30s. So if you don't want a man to come back to you fussing and cussing, you can't start with him talking ugly and demeaning. So I now know I can control the entire tone of an argument with a man just by, instead of saying, I hate you, I wish I had a different daddy, or I say, that really hurt my feelings. End of conversation. That's all I have to
Really?
say. That hurt my feelings. I have to go now. Hang up. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Daddy's sorry. Daddy didn't mean to do it. I had a bad day. Da. Okay. I'm sorry. But you have to take the lead. You have to teach people how to treat you, but you have to treat them the way you want to be
Want to
treated.
be treated.
Even in an argument.
Man, at least he was receptive.
Right.
Because my father, because he didn't grow, he had his own childhood trauma or unresolved, as most of us.
Same.
Right.
Right.
And because he did not address those at all, he has he does not respond to emotions well. Excuse me, he doesn't respond to them at all. So I know.
But does he generally get presented with emotions or anger?
Oh, before anger, definitely. So you're right. Who is going to be able to respond or react to that? But now that
because that's a little, those two are a little different. And
extremely.
I know exactly what you're talking. There are men who get, like, if they see a woman cry, they're just like, oh, I'll call you back. I'll call you back. And then they don't call you back.
Yeah.
Ever.
They cannot handle it. But going to therapy, so now, like you, learning communication skills, and to not have that super Black woman, like, nothing bothers me. Like, no, you're hurting my feelings. And this is why you're hurting my feelings. And it literally was like talking to a brick, like these bricks behind me. It was literally like talking to the brick.
Did he have a wife?
Oh, yeah, my parents are still together too. Yeah, to
Was
this
she
day.
able to? I mean, because there's only so much a mama could do, you know. And then it's like, you know, your daddy.
Yeah, but it's so funny you said that with your dad, then you hear it from family members. Oh, that's how your father is. But as an adult, I started subconsciously dating my father.
Yeah,
Not like
you did.
him, but those characteristics of the emotional blocks.
Oh yeah, I
And
did that.
yeah.
Up until I worked through it. I had me one of those. Oh boy, 7 years. I looked up, I was like, why can't I get rid of you and leave you alone? You're not even that cute. Oh. And then I realized, oh wait, you
Uh,
treat me just as he does. And I was like, F this. I'm getting rid of the both of you. And that's
exactly.
what I went to when I started therapy. I said, here's what I'm working on. This is what I realized. I need to get rid of both of these Negroes. How do I do it?
Ah.
And I couldn't get the boy I was dating to come. Well, I actually didn't care to ask him, but I did ask my dad. And I don't know if he voluntarily did it or if my mom made him. That might be part of the
Wait, you
power of a
asked your
wife.
dad what?
Come on. I said, come on, you need to come in here. Sit with me on this couch. I'm not okay, and it's because of you. Come sit over here. We're going to
Really?
figure this.
Yes.
You have one choice. You're going to be my father and sit here and we figure this out, or you leave me alone. Don't come over here when you need to go into a nursing home because you know I got a good little 401k, an IRA, and some investment properties. You go bother my sister. Ask her to wipe your bottom when you get
Yes.
old.
Say it. Say it.
So you're going to do the work now and be comfortable later, or your booty's going to itch in a nursing home. Those are your options.
Oh my God. This sounds so familiar. My outcome was not the same.
Oh.
Listen,
Well,
when
let's
we
keep working on it.
oh
Let's
no.
keep trying. You're done?
Yeah, it has to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you grieved it? I believe in closure too.
I had, you know what? Hey, Erica. That's one of my co-hosts. You need to check her out. Dope discussions. She's huge on mental health as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but so backstory, I didn't know this, but my father is a narcissist.
Oh, of course he is. Yes, mine too. They
Yeah,
have to be. The fact pattern we're describing is that of a daddy narcissist. Uh-huh.
exactly. And anything, if it doesn't not make him look good, he is not on board at all. And when we went to group therapy, family, oh
Got
my
it.
God. He lied the entire time. It was literally like running your
Useless.
head into a brick. It was useless.
Understood.
Truly useless. And I'm like, I'm glad you asked me that about the grieving part because I did. And
Good.
I did not realize that I had to grieve it to get past it, but I had to look within and find my own closure.
Yeah.
Because if I was always looking for other people, other men to help me with that closure, then I'm just hanging on a wire, just waiting for someone. So I had to do it myself. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and part of that grieving was to be a gray rock. Just I
There you
can't
go.
do it
Yeah.
because I always give options. We're gonna have this kind of relationship, a respectful relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or we just can't have one at all.
At all.
I'm not gonna be here just as an emotional punching bag. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Don't
that
come up here asking me for stuff either.
yeah,
But
exactly.
and that's hard. Let me tilt this up a little bit. That's hard with parents, of course. I
Oh
am
yeah.
very good at teaching people how to treat me. I've become very good.
Girl,
And
you
I
better say it.
thank
Yes.
you. And I realized I had become a relationship gumbo podcast. I love that. Hey, girl. I realized I had become good at it when certain things would happen in and I wouldn't necessarily be there. My friends would say, "Ooh, that wouldn't happen if Symone was here. So and so wouldn't have did that if Symone was here." And it just kind of warmed my heart. It warmed my heart. I'm like, no. But then at the same time, I have to watch it because sometimes other friends will do something to a friend, or people will do something to a friend of mine. And I'll be
Mhm.
like, now you wouldn't have did that in front of me, or you wouldn't have done that to me. And I don't like that. Don't mistreat my friends.
See, I love it. Oh, we have a hello for you.
Hey, how are you doing?
That's Erica.
Hey, Erica.
So, has there been a trickle down effect with your friends, your platonic friends, your girlfriends that you've gone to therapy and they're like, well,
I
she's
would
acting
definitely
different
say
in a
so.
good way. I
Yeah,
want to try it.
definitely in private, and definitely, oh, different people will call me like randomly. I like people I don't even know. They'll be like, I got a call one night where it was like, hey, a friend of mine is having a nervous breakdown, and they actually checked themselves into a place in your city, for mental health. Would you mind
Mm,
going and talking to that person? I absolutely did. They didn't know me from can of paint. I didn't know them. I sat with them. Well, first I text them because I know the food up in there is nasty. And I was like, girl, do you need me to sneak you something? And I snuck her in a Burger King Whopper. That's what she like. With cheese, no mayonnaise. She don't like mayonnaise. And I brought it in, and we talked further. And I think it was just, and I made sure like I looked nice and presentable. And I
right.
think it made her happy just to know like regular people go through this too. Like they don't all look
Yeah.
crazy, or they're not all old. Like I was her and she is me. Mm-hmm.
See, you know what? I have a question for you. And I actually was going to ask you this, but leave it up to Erica. I love it. She wanted to ask Symone, what do you think about the new cast of Ready to Love having conversations about therapy early in the dating stage? Erica, thank you for that.
Hey, Erica, I think that's a great idea, especially because I always say you don't get cast on a dating reality show unless there's something wrong with you, you know? And in the end, actually, there's something wrong with everybody. So
We
I
don't
do
say
not.
wrong. Let's not say wrong. We'll
Well,
say
no, when I say wrong, I say it from the standpoint of don't you dare get in a relationship expecting perfection from anyone. There's
yes.
going to be something about someone that you don't like, or something that you find to be a challenge or an issue, right? With
Mm-hmm.
everyone. So it's a matter of finding someone where whatever those challenges are, they're workable, they're livable, they're
Mm.
doable. And I also say with myself, your goal is simply in your life to get yourself to a point where whatever your imperfections are, they're ones that even with them, you're proud to be yourself.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. Speaking of the perfection, you just gave me an aha moment. I realized in my dating career that I wanted perfection. It had to be perfect. I wanted to live the Claire and Cliff Huxtable
Yeah.
because I never had that growing up. I didn't witness that. So I wanted
Mhm.
the total opposite, but that's not a reality.
Right, right, right,
Perfection,
right.
yeah, it's
No, it's
not.
not. And I think in present day dating, one of the biggest challenges is just coming to an agreement with yourself, coming to a balance with yourself to figure out, okay, what can I reasonably do without? Of my list of deal breakers and this and that, what am I willing to compromise on? Because it's got to be something.
Mhm.
And doing it in a way, because like in my relationship, that's something that we talk about all the time, is like expectations versus delivery. And I'll say, and then I was like,
Mm.
listen, I cannot meet that expectation. And he'll say the same. I can't. I say, well, let's talk about it so that we can revise ours. Because as long as I revise my expectation, you can never disappoint me. If I expect you to come home every day by 8 p.m. or 7 p.m., right, and be ready for dinner, and
Mhm.
then you tell me I can't do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I coach, basketball or whatever it is,
Right, right.
I can revise my expectation and I will never be
See?
disappointed. But if you never tell me that, and I have to be like, well, what's he doing today? Oh, today he's out with his boys, and tomorrow he's doing something that he's prioritized over me. Give me the opportunity to adjust my expectation.
It's all about the communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want it and I wanna give it as well, and I like what you said about, well, if I don't hear from him, he's probably out doing whatever.
Uh-huh.
but it would be triggering my abandonment issues from childhood. It's just about communication. That's all.
Communication.
But speaking of the castmates, oh, Erica said this was dope. That's good. Revise your expectations.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
that's a
I
good
feel like
one.
I have discovered that is so key to happiness in your relationship. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. This is
Actually,
true.
any type of, not just dating, but also like best friends and stuff. And jobs. You know, you sign up for a job thinking your job is going to be one way, and you get in there, and there is always new things thrown at you.
Right. Oh, girl. Yes. Yes. And revise your expectations, but don't lose yourself.
Right. Yes. Because you
Yeah.
have to talk about it and do it in a way that where you still feel like you're giving and you're getting reasonable value.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That part.
Because I just realized I had to stop entering situations where I felt like I wasn't getting the value of what I was worth, because when I do that, then I'm executing because I said I was going to do something, but then I'm like stank acting and I'm like angry.
Oh my God. So let me ask you this Erica said, I've always said this ain't in my
I know
job
that's
description.
right. I know that's right.
And I can hear Erica's voice too when I just read that.
Saying that right now.
I can hear it. But when you joined Ready to Love, is it true that they had everybody do the mental health
Oh
screening?
yeah. Yeah, what do they call that test? Yeah, I want to find out what it was like. I remember when I did it, which is 500 and some, maybe almost 600 questions. I can't recall. Like
Are you
almost 600.
kidding me?
It's a
Woo.
personality test. It's actually the same personality test that would, like, if you're in a custody battle, then they do something called a social study, to determine like if either parent has any personality disorders, social disorders, da da da.
Mm-hmm.
It will determine if someone is a narcissist. So they'll see on that paper. They'll know which of the cast members are narcissists. And I know I have a personality disorder.
Right.
I don't remember what mine is called or whatever, but I remember I told it to Rashid one day, like recently, like maybe 2 weeks ago. I intentionally like waited until he was like all the way in love, and brought me to the family reunion, and his family
Right.
loves me bigger than they love him, or okay, not bigger, but regular. He's up here, I'm right there.
Right.
I was like, I said something. I said, oh, I said, I said, well, that's what happens when you love a girl with a personality disorder. He went, what?
Did he
Rachel?
really?
And I said, oh, I didn't tell you. I said, yeah. Because that's what it was. We were working on it was like editing a video or something. And he gets on me because I am a super perfectionist. So sometimes I will re-edit so long that I get something out late and it drives nuts. So I was like,
Right.
yeah, I didn't tell you. Well, whatever. I forget the name of it, but the personality disorder that I have is my doctor calls it like overachiever's disorder. Literally what it means is it makes you like a perfectionist, want to do everything so perfectly. So much so that literally sometimes you'll redo an assignment or a task and you'll be so intricate with it, you don't even get it finished sometimes, or you won't even release. Like artists suffer from it sometimes, and they'll just
Oh.
work on a painting and they'll be like, no, it's not good enough. I won't even release it. Like I won't even sell it. Because they create such high expectations for themselves. Well, I'm certain that came out in the personality test. Sorry, that's what I'm getting at.
Uh-huh.
And by that coming out, it was absolutely positively perfect, right? For them to then put me on the very first episode. Where did I end up? At the bottom.
Did you? I don't remember that.
I ended up at the bottom, almost going home the first episode. This test told them I had that personality disorder. With that personality disorder, to be at the bottom of anything
I would have
will
lost it.
trigger every insecurity, every flaw. You will literally get a different person.
They knew what they were doing.
They're geniuses.
Oh my God.
They're
Really?
And I wasn't on like my ADD medicine or anything. And I was like, why am I acting like this? Why do I feel this way? Why am I so emotional? Bam. It triggered my personality disorder. And, I don't have access to talk about it because mine is not one. There's no medicine for what I have.
So this diagnosis was from that test that they gave?
No. I had it previous.
Oh.
Previous in life.
Got it.
By a doctor. It's something many lawyers, doctors, astrophysicists, like highly intelligent people suffer from it, right? And the huge problem.
High achievers.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not even intelligence. It's not about intelligence at all. It's about the achievement. The biggest problem with it is you don't know you have it. And the only reason people even try or start to think about dealing with it or even getting a diagnosis is because it impacts your personal relationships. You get late for things. People are tired of you always being late. If you're the boss, which I had a staff of like 5. It makes you're not a good boss. Sometimes you can talk to people ugly.
Were you a micromanager? Would you think you was?
Yes. Or you don't even give people tasks because you're like, they're not going to do it as good as I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it myself.
I've experienced that from an employer.
You put too much on your plate and then nothing gets done, or not enough gets done, or it doesn't get done enough correctly. Yeah.
So we have a question. Does it trigger anxiety?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've had an employer like that, and she literally would lose it. She wanted everything perfect, but she didn't trust anybody else to do it for her. So if we were to get off at 4:30, she wasn't leaving work until 7 p.m. almost every night, and then blow up.
Same.
I've been here all night.
I remember one time my assistant, my legal secretary, she did my calendar. She got mixed up on the time zones. I think she was in a different time zone when she said it. So I showed up to an appointment an hour early. Who cares? It's early. It's not that big of a deal, aside from the fact I could have been in the office longer doing some things. But at least I wasn't late. Right. And I remember when she called, she was very quiet. She was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're actually an hour early. And I said, this is why I'm crazy.
It's not funny, but it is funny. Did you, Symone? Oh my God.
I know so bad. It was many, 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 many years ago. And I have apologized profusely since then and explained the error in my ways. And she has moved on and she's doing wonderful things in her life and does not have to deal with crazy bosses like I was. But yeah. So I say, yep, they give us the test. I am a great example of how that test works in action. Hey, Dave. And all reality shows do it too. So I don't want anyone to think it's a manipulation tactic of Ready to Love. No. They it actually started with The Bachelor. They did it first.
Really?
And the doctor who reads it, there's only a few doctors, and then I think there's only 3 in the world that know how to properly interpret those results. And that doctor gets hired by Bad Girls Club, The Bachelor, Love Island, like any of those. He does it.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yep.
I'm going to have to look that up. I'm always intrigued by the mind, anything to do with the mind and how personalities are and how people navigate. That's some good nuggets right there. So with the present cast, have you noticed that a lot of them talk about their mental health or therapy in general?
Let me think. We've had 2 episodes. Not so much with this one. Oh, yes. It was the former military guy, Cornelius, that just got added this week. I heard him discuss it.
Cornelius.
And in the last cast, Ty, who was also former military, he discussed it. Because military, you automatically get PTSD, period. If you've been deployed, you have PTSD. Ain't no way around it. I don't care if you work in the file cabinet. I've never met anybody that was deployed to the Afghanistan area and came back the same, ever.
You
It's
know what?
impossible.
I listened to one of his Instagram lives. I was in tears when he was describing how just what he's gone through. And I was like, damn, how can you not have PTSD when every day you wake up thinking that's going to be your last day?
Right.
God damn.
That's the one of those things they don't tell you when they come into your little high school classroom, telling you, come
No.
this way, don't go to college. That's why I went to a Black Catholic school. That's why I had a white teacher. Bless her heart, I love her. She came from corporate America, and she would not let them in her classroom because it was AP. She said no. She said, y'all go down to Highland Park. That was the white public school with the rich white kids. She said, y'all go down to Highland Park and y'all recruit the dumb kids over there. Don't come get my smart black ones.
I love her. We need to protect her
Miss
with
Bowie,
all.
y'all, let's protect Miss Bowie. Where's Miss Bowie at? Yes. Miss
Yeah.
Bowie, who was my sweet little Cajun math, calculus, statistics professor, teacher at Bishop Dunn, sweet as pie.
I love her. I don't even know her, and I love her. Everyone listening right now, because there's a lot of people on, I would love for you right now, just subscribe. Hit that little box in the lower
Yes.
right corner. Simone, tell them to subscribe, girl.
Y'all, subscribe here. Y'all just scroll over, subscribe. So you'll get the alerts and you'll hear more of these kind of conversations, y'all. We need them.
We do need them. And we need, what's her name? Miss who? The teacher you just talked about?
Oh, Miss Bowie. Yes.
Bowie.
Miss
Yeah.
Bowie. Oh, I love my teacher, Miss Bowie. Yes, she's retired now, I believe. She was a former executive with PepsiCo. And then she came over to my Black Catholic school in Dallas, Bishop Dunn, and taught statistics, calculus, all kind of little math classes. And she would do it in a professional context. It was amazing.
See, and you never know with all these people listening right now, there could be a Mr. or Mrs. Bowie listening right now, knowing that it's okay to talk about, it's okay to be Black and talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay. You'll live through it. You will live through it.
Yes. Because you can talk about it or you can live it in silence and suffer in it. That's what we don't want.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
What are other ways that we can reduce the stigma of mental health, in your opinion?
I think certainly talking about it. But I think it has to be something that's lived. And I think the other thing is people just have to have more awareness as far as understanding how accessible it is. It used to be really difficult to access it because it wasn't mandated that your insurance included it. Now, thanks to our wonderful former President Obama, all insurance must have, it's called behavioral health. There must be behavioral health coverage that's included. Also, if you work for an employer, meaning I'm not including people whose insurance is solely because you're self-employed. If you work for any entity, there's something called the Employee Assistance Program, which is EAP.
Can someone listening, can you write that in the comment section?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. EAP, put in there, the Employee Assistance Program. If you're an employee, you can use your EAP for therapy with it's a $20 deductible, if that. And what's cool is it's per issue. So all you do, call the EAP hotline. You tell them the zip code of the neighborhood for which you'd like to get your therapy in. So if you want it to be by your job, if you want to go after work or on your lunch break, give them your job. If you want it closer to your house, you give them your house zip code. Then EAP will tell you what doctor will accept the EAP program, which your job is already paying for. So you can go to that if you're having issues with your child. If you're having issues with your child hanging with the wrong crowd, you and your kid can go on in there. If you're having issues with your child, maybe their other parent isn't very active, go on in there with your kid. Anybody in your household can go. You can have your kid go in there themselves.
You're kidding me.
Yes. And then you can go. You generally get 10 sessions per topic. That's separate from the behavioral health coverage. 10 per topic. Let's say you got a boyfriend. Let's say you got a boyfriend and he getting on your nerves. The two of y'all get 10 sessions. Then separately, you get 10 of your own. Maybe you hate your job and you're thinking about stabbing your boss in the eye. Go. You get 10 sessions. Maybe your job is stressing you. They can actually help you get what's called paid stress leave. I didn't know that was a thing. It was the white girls at my job used to get it all the time. We had this particular partner at my firm who was abusive and terrible, and he'd make all the little white ladies cry. And so they figured, and the white women would leave, and then they would collect stress leave. Stress leave is under workers' compensation. So it's effectively how you can get paid to not go to work. Paid to not go to work because your boss is abusive, harassing, hostile work environment. Well, I didn't know that my firm had developed the policy because all of the little white girls would cry and leave. And he was very, very powerful. We had very powerful fashion clients. So they developed the philosophy, just give them to the black girls. So they gave him a black assistant and they gave him a black associate, myself, because they decided that black girls are tougher. We don't cry over this stuff.
Of course not.
That's the other girls.
Of course not.
Well, because we didn't know we could. We thought we'd get fired.
Right.
We get fired for breathing. We get fired for wearing the sleeveless top. And if it's a business, corporate, professional environment, I didn't know that we don't have to get abused. So needless to say, I'm just saying that like all of these things, including hostile work environment, these are things that resources like EAP or just whoever your therapist is, you can talk to them about it. You don't have to sit around and get abused, by the way, anymore.
I love what you said, anymore.
Yeah, literally workers' compensation mandates, and every state's different, but in my state, which is Texas, workers' compensation, I believe you get up to like 60% of, at some point you get initially, I believe you get your full salary, and then later on you get up to 60% of your full salary to what? Not go to work. And then in that case, you're also, they're required to try and give you alternative work assignments, meaning give you a boss that doesn't harass you, doesn't create the hostile work environment, doesn't cuss you out, doesn't flip over chairs and those kind of things. And, or you can use that time to find another job, a job that doesn't mistreat you. And they're not allowed if you're looking for another job, they don't call your current job and be like, hey, what kind of employee? No, they only do that after you've left. So it's always, I always say, I've learned now, it's always good to, if you're in such a hostile situation, look for another job, while you're in the other situation, because they'll never call your current one.
You are dropping gems. If anyone listening right now, if you've had, I love it though.
I'm off on a tangent. I apologize.
No, this is good because a lot of us I never knew the intricate details of how it can be done. A lot of us.
Stress leave. Any therapist can literally, they will write you a letter that says, write your job a letter. And this, how you go to like your regular doctor if you're in a car accident and says, can't come back to work for this many days. Yeah. You'll have a therapist that says, my client, my patient is not permitted to return to work for the next 2 weeks. And then in the 2 weeks, and they can even say, and she needs to be reassigned to an environment less hostile or under different conditions, blah, 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 blah.
Where were you all my life? This is something that and anybody listening, if you've had any kind of hostile work environment, drop a 1 in the comment section. I mean, my God.
Y'all, that's why you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called Girl, Is That Legal? Because we talk about all these kinds of different things that who even knew had a legal component to them.
Exactly. But I want to talk about that for sure, but we have one more question, but I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah.
We have a question. Symone, do you think that men are catching up with women in being open to therapy?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think especially highly intelligent men are realizing how necessary it is, how happy it makes them. And they see other women who go to therapy as equally intelligent. They don't see it as,
Yes.
oh my God, what's wrong with her? No, they're like, oh, she gets it.
Exactly. She
Mhm.
gets it. I definitely, that's actually a turn on that a man will tell me that he's gone to therapy or going to therapy.
Right.
Oh my God, that's the new sexy.
Actually, one of my deal breakers is a man who refuses to go to therapy. So, ladies and
Mhm.
men out there, if this is something important to you, when you are evaluating someone and you guys are discussing deal breakers, you should really talk about that because
Mhm.
I've seen various relationships. I right now I'm watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and in their marriage, the little Asian girl that's not coming back, she's
Mhm.
in their marriage, they're going through an issue because he wants her to have another child, and she's kind of like, no, I almost died the last time I attempted. And she
Mm.
said, I think we should go to therapy. He's refusing.
Mm-mm.
If it's something important to you, you need to know if you're entering a marriage with a man who doesn't believe in therapy, because what that says is once you get to a roadblock, he ain't budging.
A roadblock meaning it will stay blocked.
It will stay blocked. Once you get to a roadblock in your relationship, it's going to be his way or no way. So just determine if that's okay with you.
See, and this is why, to bring this conversation full circle, why it's so awesome to have an open dialogue about mental health, because it can help improve relationship with self, with your relationship with others, and with your job.
For
You just
sure.
dropped a gazillion gems right there. And you're right, Erica. A man who refuses therapy is a red flag.
Bam.
You know, I've had he's probably going to listen to this, but I'm just going to say it. He's
Go
an
for it.
ex from years and years ago. But when I told him how I started having this epiphany, like being a mental health advocate, well, why? Black people don't need that. We've gotten through a lot worse. Sir, we haven't even healed from slavery. What are you talking about? Ah, yeah. So I know,
Bless his
see
little
the
heart.
face. And Sarinthia said, very true. It took a lot for me to convince my husband of the importance of counseling.
I remember in college, I had a friend who was a psychology major, and I was trying to convince her that she needed therapy, and she refused. She was like, I read all the books and I take all the classes at these people. And I was like, girl, what?
You said, girl. But a lot of us, and I get it because I've been there before, when we do read books and listen to podcasts, but we tend to intellectualize it more than actually feeling it and absorbing and truly learning, as opposed to just gathering information,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Agreed.
Yeah. So we're going to end it. But before we do, everyone take a look in the comment section. We already have one person that just subscribed
Thank
to
you.
your channel, Celeste the Therapist. Hey, Celeste. But everyone, right now, take a screenshot or click on the link. And this is Simone's, yeah, right down there. So I do enjoy your Ages and Stages
Thank
podcast.
you.
I really do. It's very entertaining. You all are great. But when you came out with, girl, is that legal? I said, let me watch this and see what's going on. I love it.
Oh,
I
thank you so
love
much.
it. Yes. And everyone, when you subscribe, make sure you click the bell notification. Like, you
Yes.
get all the notifications.
Yes, for all my new videos that are going to come out.
Yeah, and it's a lot of nice bite-sized little nuggets, but
Mhm.
it's a dope channel. It really is. And you're so smart. You just come out with it. I was like,
Thank
okay.
you. I
So,
just had fun. I've had like a lot of just like tough experiences in life. And my mom always says, well, you know what? Now that you've learned from X, Y, or Z experience, now you're going to be able to help someone else. So, really, I chose to start this because I have a lot of people that would ask me for different varied legal advice. And I became the friend. My friends used to tease me and call me Google because they knew that if they couldn't figure out the answer to something, I could either answer it or lead them in a direction for an answer.
mhm.
So I was like, you know what? Let me start this so I can share some of my experiences, which is what I explained with the whole hostile work environment and applying for stress leave
Right.
and going from there.
Mm. So what was the girl is that legal? How'd you come up with that name?
Oh, a guy I was dating at the time, he told me, he was like, this is what you should call it. And I was like, wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Really?
Hmm. At first it was just, is that legal? And then I wanted to add girl to it because it was just kind of like, because it's literally what my friends would be like, girl, is that legal? Like at the end of the day, whoever was asking me the question, all they really generally wanted to know was, can somebody do this? Is this legal?
You know,
Hmm.
Black folks, we're gonna ask, is that
Right,
legal? Because I want to sue.
right, right, right. Hmm.
So we have another compliment for you. Celeste says, I can't wait. I love your energy,
Thank you, Celeste. I
as
appreciate it.
well as smart and so kind. I can tell there are no wrong questions with you. Thank
That is
you.
super true, super true. Oh, and I want to encourage you guys, definitely subscribe next week. We're confirming the date, but next week I'm so excited. For any of you guys who watch, you don't even have to watch the show, but it's Love After Lockup. It's a reality show out there.
Mm-hmm.
The current season is actually Love During Lockup. It's about people who have, it's actually very hilarious and entertaining, but it's about people who have met inmates, and then the inmates are about to get out and they've developed this love relationship. Well,
Right.
this season they had a woman on there who I thought was just like, she was like so cute and relatable. Her name is Ty. She is based in New York. Well, I'm going to have her on. So on the
Mm.
episode, she's dating this guy who's incarcerated named Hottie. She actually talks about how she's kind of cheating on him. Okay. She's dating like 4 prisoners. Okay. She's got a schedule. She manages them and she's cute. She's so cute.
Really?
She's not even ugly. And she talks about how she loves to date prisoners. And this one guy that she's dating, apparently, he has another girl who thinks she's his girlfriend. And the girl releases her nudes all over Facebook.
You
So,
are
on
lying.
Girl, Is That Legal? We talk about what do you do if someone is releasing your nudes or threatening to release your nudes? What are your options? And then we just also talk about her experience being on Love During Lockup and
Right.
dating prisoners. And then I love hooking people up. So we're going to talk. And then, maybe after a little bit of therapy, I'm going to hook her up with somebody who's not incarcerated.
You know what? Keep doing God's work.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying.
Oh my God. Everyone, make sure and take a screenshot. Make sure and go to her to Symone's page. And I also put, if this is on a replay, I put her link in the show description box. So there's no excuse.
Thank
You make
you.
sure
Thank
and
you.
just clip it and bam, it'll take you right to her page. So this is some good stuff. What was your favorite Girl Is That Legal episode? Because you dropped some good
Goodness.
gems.
Okay. Actually, it hasn't posted yet, but one of them would be how to own your own Chick-fil-A for 10,000 bucks. That one's coming up, guys. Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, wait, we have a new subscriber. There we go.
Woo-hoo! Thank you. Thanks, Corinthia. Oh my gosh, I grew up with a girl named Corinthia. Corinthias are always like super sweet. I
Oh
feel
my
like it's like a
God.
little baby angel name.
And
Yes.
she is so beautiful. Her spirit is
Oh,
so kind. Yes. And
that's
she birthed
great.
a little angel.
I love it.
So yeah, tell me now.
Yeah, so I did an episode on how to own a Chick-fil-A for 10,000 bucks. Because I'm really big. Like a lot of people just, we all talk about wanting to, like, I'm gonna start my own business. But I'm
Mm,
really big on sometimes you want to buy a business that exists.
girl, speak your
Why
speech.
why create the wheel when you can buy one and just tune it up, you know? So, yep. So one of them that's coming out, that's going to come out in the next week, how to own your own Chick-fil-A for 10,000 bucks, and some other
Mm,
franchises that you can purchase, for under 100K. So as you're thinking about different businesses, you can think,
mm-hmm.
okay, maybe this makes sense, especially because ding, ding, ding. With the SBA, okay, when you're out there and you're trying to get a loan, if you can show the business like it's already making revenue, instead of having to come up with 20 or 30% collateral, you only have to come up with 10%.
You're kidding me.
10%. If it's an
Oh,
existing business. But if you come up there talking about, I want to start my own from the ground up, that's when you got to do 20%, 30%, second mortgage, all this foolishness. Yeah.
oh no.
Oh no.
This is why
Girl, is that legal?
Right. This is why you have to click on the notifications all.
Please and thank you. Yes. So you get all the notifications, y'all.
Huh. So what kind of law do you specialize in?
So I specialize in every day. I do wrongful death. I do car accidents. I do car accidents through my firm in the state of Texas, Georgia, and Florida. 18-wheelers, hit by an Amazon truck, hurt in an Uber, that kind of thing. And then I also do small business. I've done the buying and selling of franchises, that type of thing.
Really?
LLCs, that sort of thing as well.
I watched your episode about the LLCs when you were on Kamisha.
Yes.
And I was in there. I have my LLC.
Very good. Very, very good.
I do. I had
Yes.
that. Matter of fact, I just renewed it Friday, as a matter of fact.
Good.
Yeah, but that
Yes,
was
girl.
very informative. And what I love about your channel is you explain it in layman's terms, and it's extremely relatable.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I was explaining punitive damages one day, and I was explaining that like punitive damages are basically the court's way of making an example out of you. So I was saying it's like when you break something at your granny house, and your granny says to you and your cousins, go outside and get a switch, and then she takes the switch and she whoop you in front of your cousins, and each of y'all gotta watch. And she does that so y'all know, don't y'all be running in her good room with the good furniture and the white furniture. Don't y'all run in there knocking stuff over anymore, right? It's to make an example out of you. And that's what the court did with Tasha K.
That's what I was
when
going
they
to
made
ask.
her pay $1.5 million to Cardi B just for punitive damages. They said, now you knew this girl didn't have herpes, but you kept saying it on your page, and you've left that video up now for 2 years, you little raggedy chick. You little raggedy skank. And you made a lot of money off of it, you little skank today.
Yeah.
So pay up. That's what they did. They whooped her with a switch. The court whooped Tasha K with a switch.
So if she would have just taken the videos down, you think the punitive damages would
it
have
wouldn't
gone
even be a lawsuit. That's the reason for the suit. So yes, both. Because that's how defamation works. The minute you know, you are informed that this is a lie, if you don't pull it down, they about to get the switch. They about to get the switch on you.
Meanwhile, she's running around grandma's white furniture with no plastic on the furniture. With
spilling Kool-Aid. Spilling Kool-Aid.
Huh.
Cutting up. That's what Tasha K did. Shame on her.
Shame on her. Well, you know what? Her ego has gotten the best of her, and this is a very long, skinny switch she's getting.
And it doesn't seem like, well, she's not willing to acknowledge defeat or whatever, but she should.
She should. I mean, she's like they say in my mother's country, you're going to be wrong and strong to the end. So,
and broke.
She'd
be cutting up because, like Cardi B said, Cardi B really will own her YouTube channel. Because let me tell you, you can, if she were to try to file bankruptcy, Tasha K were to file bankruptcy to try and get out of paying it, a bankruptcy court would literally put the YouTube channel up for bid. And
you're lying.
No.
What?
No, baby girl. That's how bankruptcy works.
Really?
Bankruptcy work. Oh, here's how I know. I used to, there's the chain Joe's Crab Shack, right?
Yes.
Okay. I used to defend them in frivolous slip and falls. Well, they filed for bankruptcy leaving attorneys like myself with bills unpaid and other things. But when they filed, they were able to sell only their assets. So if you're a YouTuber and you're a YouTube LLC, your asset is your channel. They make you put any asset up for auction before you can settle out your bankruptcy. Meaning she will have to auction that, and I'll bet you what, Cardi B will buy it. Cardi B would buy it and own it, and Tasha K would be no more. She will literally have to start all over. Now, she could start all over under a new name, and, you know, that might work just fine. But the risk of having to do that, the time involved with having to do that.
Right. I mean, she has,
That's a
last
huge
I knew,
risk.
1 million subscribers. That takes a minute to get up
It
there.
takes a minute.
Yeah.
So as a result, I don't anticipate her trying to file bankruptcy anytime soon if she's aware of that risk. Because the last thing she wants is Cardi B to own Unwind with Tasha K and her having to restart it and being unwind.
Reloaded. The remix. Man, if she's dug her own hole. You know, I was watching one of her lives and one of her subscribers put in the chat, Tasha, we still love you. It's okay to admit that you were wrong. So even her subscribers are still giving her grace, but you know,
she just refuses. She's talking about the machine and the this and the that. But when someone had mentioned, and I had to remember, this is the same young lady who reminded us she'd been to 9th grade 3 times, which I didn't even know that was possible. I thought you could only do a specific grade 2.
I thought it was twice.
Yeah. I thought she said 3. I could be wrong. Either way.
No, I've heard 3 as well.
Yeah, she did it 3 of the times. So, yeah. You know. Bless her heart. Too bad they didn't have Kumon back then, or Sylvan. I said it's too bad they didn't have Kumon or the Sylvan Learning Center back then.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really works.
Oh, the shade of it all. Symone, I would love for you to come back on again.
Thank you.
So
I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, this was fun. This was really good stuff. And I love how we truly brought everything full circle. Oh, yeah. Symone, you are a Black girl that has her shift together.
Oh! Thank you. I feel so honored. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. So are there any parting words before we finish and log off?
No, I just want to say, in addition to My Girl Is That Legal, tune in each week to Ages and Stages. That's the name of the YouTube channel. We also just rolled out. We are now on iTunes and wherever you get your podcasts. So you can listen to us there as well. And that's my boyfriend and I, Rashid, as we talk about, we do weekly reaction videos, but we also talk about dating, love, relationships, and all that other goodish.
How did y'all come up with that name, Ages and Stages?
He did. It actually referred to when he was on the stage and they had asked him about would he ever give Adriana another shot, you know, after things didn't work out with her and the other guy. And he said, well, I think she's a wonderful girl, but I think that we're both at different ages and stages in our life. So that's where it came from.
Okay, Rashid.
Yeah.
The lyricist.
Oh, gosh, don't tell him that.
You can tell him I said that.
He's like a nerd rapper. It's precious. Preciously terrible.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, I need to make a suggestion for you all.
Go for it.
You all should do that. Those little reels where somebody's talking in the background. Which one sleeps the longest?
Oh my gosh, I told him this. Yes, I agree. Thank you. Yeah,
because you both have so much personality. That would be really cute.
I think that's a great idea. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. Again, everyone, make sure and subscribe to Symone's YouTube channels. I put them both in the description box, as well as subscribing to my channel, Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Go to that lower right corner and click the subscribe button and make sure and like and share with at least 2 friends. Symone, 2, that's not too big of a number.
No, absolutely not. I'm going to share this on my story along with the link. So I'm going to share it with like 50,000 friends.
I'm always looking for new BFFs.
Perfect.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Make sure and tune in Wednesday. I have another lovely guest. Candy Washington is coming on. And then I'll have a bonus episode right in time for Valentine's Day, so we can get our self-love together before we try loving other folks.
That's right.
All right. You all have a good evening. Thank you again, Symone.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
For the queen, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and booty walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, Sentis goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog. When God made you, boo, you know he showed out. Mahogany enchantress, blessings overflow now. Picture of success, seductive silhouettes on a spiritual quest. Manifest and be blessed. Mother, sister, auntie, tribe of Ashanti. Rocking your locks, I got a close crop blondie. The curse and the gift, uplift, apply pressure. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Nothing like a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together.